Hello and welcome to your SHRM-CP prep sessions. My name is Kathy Nguyen and I am a certified HR practitioner with over a decade of experience working for global Fortune 500 companies. And I have also been an instructor for over a decade, helping aspiring professionals like you reach their HR career goal. In this quick and focused review session, I will guide you through the SHRM exam structures, key concepts that you need to know for the exam, and actionable strategies to help you prepare for the exam like a pro. So grab your notebook, settle in, and get ready. Your certification journey starts right here, and I'm excited to help you achieve it. Let's go. Let's take a closer look at the format of the exam so you know exactly what to expect on test day. This exam consists of 134 questions divided into two types. 80 of those are knowledge-based items assess your understanding of HR principles and practices. And 54 of those are situational judgment items where you will need to focus on answering questions related to real-world scenarios. It's important to note that 24 of these questions are field test items, meaning they don't count towards your final score, but you really don't know which one of the questions are these 24 questions. So my recommendation to you is to answer all of the questions with the time that you are provided. The questions come in two formats: multiple choice questions and scenario-based question. You would have 3 hours to complete the exam, and timing is key here. With 1.64 minutes per questions, it's crucial to pace yourself and allocate your time wisely. I always recommend my students to stay within 1.5 minutes per question so that you have ample time for difficult questions. And remember to stay calm, focus on the keywords in each question, and approach every scenario with a strategic, ethical, and collaborative mindset. Your passing score is determined by the certification body, so you need to aim for accuracy, thorough understanding to perform at your best. So by knowing the exam structure and practicing these formats, you will walk into test day with confidence and a clear plan for success. Preparing for the exam is all about building effective studying strategies. And in this slide, I will share with you the top 3 tips that I always share with my students to help them achieve success. The first one is to tailor your studying plan with your learning style. Everyone learns differently. Some excel through reading, others thrive with visual aids or hands-on experience. Identify what works best for you and integrate it into your study plan. Allocate specific time and goals to keep your preparation on track. In my course, I have diverse resources to help my students learn best. You have video lectures, quizzes, and flashcards to help diversify your learning experience. And I will also include a 10-week study plan to help you with the format and the template that you can tailor based on your own experience and knowledge. The second one that I would recommend you to use is practice exam. So take advantage of practice tests to familiarize yourself with the exam format. In my Udemy course, you would have access to a practice test that simulate the real exam. And you can take it before you start a course to assess your current knowledge and experience, and take it at the end of the course to assess your readiness for the exam. Throughout the course, you can also take it multiple times to make sure that you see where you need to improve. And the last tips I have for you, this is my secret sauce, and is a concept called memory consolidation. Repetition is the secret sauce. Each time you revisit a topic, you strengthen the neural connection in your brain, making it easier to encode the information into long-term memory. And this will help you in the exam because on that day, you will be able to recall information so quickly to answer the questions. In addition, it will also help you in your role as an HR professional to answer questions from managers, leaders, stakeholders, and employees. Many students ask me, do I really need to repeat the material over and over? And my answer is yes, because repetition and repeated exposure to information aids transition from short-term to long-term memory and ensure that you master the material. So remember, preparation is key to success, and every step you take brings you closer to achieving your certification. In this segment, we will focus on how to approach the exam questions. First, highlight the keywords and truly understanding what's being asked. Ask yourself, what are they asking? Pay close attention to specific terms and phrases that signal the context, such as strategies, compliance, or cultural competence. These keywords are your compass, guiding you toward the correct answer. Second, situational awareness is key. Effective HR responses depending on understanding the context and then blending facts with the situation. So you need to understand the context and then you need to identify, based on my HR knowledge and a foundational framework, where is the right answer. And last but not least, don't forget the SHRM mindset, a crucial framework for making thoughtful, exam-ready decisions. Here's how you can embody this mindset in the exam. First, prioritize data-driven decisions that rely on evidence and facts rather than assumption. A lot of time if they ask you the questions, what is the first course of action? Usually is around analyzing data or collecting data. Second, stay collaborative by considering solutions that involve teamwork and stakeholder engagement. Try to not make the decision on your own. Emphasize actions that are fair, respectful, and ethical. You always need to ensure equity and integrity in every situation. Ensure your solutions are legally compliant, adhere to HR regulations and labor law, and last but not least, align your answers with organizational goals. Remember, HR role is to support and advance the business strategy. However, if the question is around a business decision that will go against the law, you always have to pick the ethical and legally compliant decision. Strategic alignment is key to effective HR management. So you always have to ask yourself the question, does this decision enhance employee engagement, foster innovation, or drive business success? Or does this decision align with legal and compliance? Another critical component is cultural competence. So be prepared to address HR issues in a global context because remember, this exam is a global exam. So always consider diverse cultural norms and practices. And finally, adaptability. It's important that you need to address HR challenges in a global context and showcase your ability to tailor practices to fit very cultural, legal, and organizational frameworks. You need to ask yourself, is this questions help to navigate the changes and address challenges effectively? So remember, every question is an opportunity for you to demonstrate how HR drives meaningful strategic impact in the workplace. Approach each scenario with focus, confidence, and the principles of the SHRM mindset, and you will pass the exam. Now let's break down the key concept covering in the SHRM-CP exam. This overview will help you focus on what matters most and guide your study plan effectively. So as you see here on the screen, there are two key components of the SHRM-CP exam. The first component is the behavioral competency. This session focuses on situational judgment questions, which make up about 50% of the exam. Rather than testing technical knowledge, these questions emphasize the mindsets and decision-making approaches expected of a strategic HR professional. So what we like to call it, how the SHRM think. So what exactly is SHRM think? At its core is about prioritizing decisions that align with the leadership skill, right? So you're seeing the leadership components. How do you navigate through complex scenario and apply ethical practice, inclusion, and diversity in your decision-making process? How do you position yourself as a strategic business partner rather than an administrative function? And it's very important to highlight the interpersonal cluster. How do you manage relationship with management and with the employees? How do you communicate effectively up, down, and sideways? And do you have a global mindset to implement your HR strategies across multiple regions and multiple countries? From a business cluster mindset, when you think about behavioral competency, it's about applying your business acumen by understanding the business, right? Being the HR business partner to the business, to the organization, provide consultation versus of telling the employees or the organization what to do. You consult them based on analytical data and information to help the organization and employees make the best decision. So that a quick summary of the behavioral competency. So keep in mind that the behavioral competency is the way that SHRM think, and that including leadership, interpersonal skill, and business mindset. The next one we want to talk about is technical HR knowledge. And this is more around the foundational knowledge that you will need to be an effective HR professional. The first component is people domain, and that includes the HR strategy. So how do you align HR initiative with business goals? Talent acquisition. How do you develop workforce planning and have an effective selection process and methods for the organization? Employee engagement and retention. How do you motivate the employees and enhance performance management? Learning and development, L&D. How do you build training programs and leadership development initiative? And last but not least, total rewards. How do you ensure that the employees is appropriately compensated and rewarded so that they stay with the organization? Ensure pay equity, ensure competitive comps and benefits package for your organization. The next one is organization domain. This is the structure of the HR function, understanding HR role and service delivery, organizational effectiveness, right? How do you drive workforce planning and manage change effectively? Workforce management is address trends and maintain strong employee relationship. Employee and labor relations. How do you handle union negotiation and compliance in your organization? And then technology management is the last piece. How do you leverage HR system like HRIS system, talent acquisition system to ensure that HR function effectively and uphold data privacy standards? And the last thing that we're going to talk about here is the workplace domain. And the workplace domain address a few things. So first is managing a global workforce. How do you address cultural and compliance challenges not only within your country but internationally? Risk management. How do you promote workplace safety and develop crisis management plans for the organization? CSR is corporate social responsibility. How do you integrate internal strategies into ethical practices and sustainability initiative. And if you are in the US, then keep in mind that you will be tested on some key US employment law and regulations like FMLA, ADA, ADEA, EEOC. So all those laws that you will need to know for the exam. So this is a quick summary of what is the SHRM-CP formula for success. You need to know both behavioral competency for situational questions and technical HR knowledge for foundational technical questions. Now that you had a quick review of all the key knowledge area, let's look at some practice questions. The first question that we have here on the screen is, which approach best ensure employees understand and comply with organizational ethical standards? So take a moment to read these 4 options. And I want to highlight here that the questions ask you for the best approach and ensure the employee understand, right? This is very important, understand and comply with organizational ethical standards. So the outcome is to understand, right? To make sure the employees understand and comply with the organization's ethical standards. So to help the employees understand something, the right answer would be A, providing ongoing ethics training, because training will help employees to understand, and then they can comply with the standards. If you just create a mandatory annual employee survey, it will help to gather the information, but it doesn't help the employees understand the standard. If you establish a company-wide whistleblower policy, it will help to encourage whistleblower, but it doesn't help the employees to have an opportunity to sit down and learn and really understand the standards the company have. And then last but not least, if you just publish the ethical standards on the organization website, there's really not the right actions here to help employees to understand the ethical standards. So you see here, it's very important you highlight the keywords, what the question wants you to do, and then look here to see the keywords, the key actions you need to take to achieve the outcome. And the key action here is training. All right, second question. An employee in your organization is having difficulty managing work deadline. So the challenge here is difficulty managing work deadline. As a part of the performance improvement plan, what development methods should you recommend? So here, the issue is to help this employee managing their work deadlines better. Take a moment and read these 4 options. Which one do you think is the right answer? Right, coaching. Coaching is the right answer because coaching will help the employees gain that skill they need to address specific challenges like time management and meeting deadline. Mentoring is more suited for career guidance. So if the employee is having difficulty to advance their career, then mentoring would be a good one. Formal classroom training is better if there's a specific skill, like a specialized skill, like let's say using artificial intelligence, then formalized classroom training wouldn't be needed. And then job rotational program will be more applicable for role skills rather than address a target performance issue. This is more suited for broadening skills. This is a very specific skill here, the performance improvement plan to manage work deadline. So again, mentoring, formal classroom training, and job rotation would not be accurate in this scenario. Coaching will help you achieve the problem, to solve the problem that this question posed. Next, we will try situational questions. A manager requests leadership training for their department to improve team morale and productivity. During the training, the facilitator noticed resistance from several team members who feel training isn't relevant to their challenges. The manager received mixed feedback afterward, with some participants highlighting a lack of a practical solution. What step should the facilitator take next? So take a moment and read the 4 options yourself and select the right options. Which one do you think is the right answer? I want to highlight a few things here for you to help you select the right answer. The first one is leadership training, right, to improve team morale and productivity. So this is the problem they try to solve. And the problem occurs during the training that there's resistance. These team members feel like the training isn't relevant to their challenges. So there's mixed feedback afterward. And the question in terms of like the steps is not all the steps, right? It's the first step. So what step should the facilitator take next? So always pay attention to the word next or first. So the right answer for this question is B. Review the training objective with the manager. Situational judgment item like this require the test taker to think about what is occurring in the scenario and decide which response is the most effective course of actions. And so revisiting the training objectives allow the facilitator and the manager ensure alignment between what the team needs, what is relevant to the team challenges, and the training content. So you see here how the team say they feel the training isn't relevant to their challenges. So there's a disconnect here between the manager, the team members, and the training department. While surveying participants can provide feedback, it does not address the root issue. The root issue here is the mixed feedback. And you already see this, right? And the participants highlight a lack of practical solutions. So the content is not applicable. C, a follow-up sessions, or D, individual coaching may be premature without addressing the broader misalignment. First, there has to be alignment between the manager, the head of the department, right, with the team members and with the trainer, the facilitator. So answer B is the accurate answer for this question. How did you do? In conclusion, to succeed on the HR certification exam, focus on having a comprehensive study plan, understand key concepts, and practice regularly. Stay confident and manage your time effectively during the exam. If you're following these tips, you will be able to pass the exam with ease. I'm so excited for you. And if you are interested in signing up for my course, I am looking forward to seeing you in the next following sessions. Thank you for watching.